Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Mardek, and last time we went through this here warport, and now we are back on the southern continent, which means that we can go to any of a number of places, but I think first and foremost, let's go back to the Sun Temple, because I think that we will find that we have not yet turned in the primary quest that we were here to do. So if we talk to the chief priest here, well, we solved the problem. The whole warding stone thing, just to clarify, it's been a while. You did. The dark monsters seem to be calming down a bit and dissipating, so I take your word for that. Well done, knights. I knew we could count on you. As for your reward, there's your payment of 5,000 gold, of course, but I'd also like you to take this. It may be of some use to you in the future. You will always be welcomed here, Royal Knights of Gosnor. May you go with the blessings of Solak. Okay, so we got a bunch of coins. Let's also check, I believe it was this item here, a Solakian plate mail was the other reward that we got. It's a suit of golden armor, blessed by the sun god, Solak. You can feel the holiness just radiating off of it, like a warm sandwich. Yeah, I like to wear sandwiches. I suppose that works. So 9 defense, which is, I'm pretty sure, a fair bit higher than anything we've seen thus far. The bronze armor might come the closest, and that's only 6. Other than that, it has morality block, much like that bronze armor did. Also, 50% resistance to light, a physical defensive reaction. That sounds very strong, much like what we've seen on Elwian. She had the dark version of this on one of her items. Purity as well for that curse immunity. Mardek's already learned that, of course. Also, +2 spirit. Not bad, a little bit of a bonus. 25% empowers light. Again, I don't think that does anything, but the thought is nice. Resist light, 50%. Resist air, 50%. And resist curse, 100%. So, even if at least Mardek has learned a couple of these abilities here, the resist light is very strong. In addition to the high defense and other elemental resistances, this seems like this is a really strong chestplate, so all the more reason for us to come back to pick it up. It is, however, a heavy armor, meaning that at least of the people currently in our party, Mardek will be the only person capable of wearing it. So we could, however, swap out the bone mail for the Solakian plate mail, since it is definitely higher defense, and the bone mail we mostly put on, at least temporarily, for that resistance to dark back when we were in the Dark Temple. Now that we aren't in the Dark Temple, might make some sense for us to swap over to this. Let's just double check. Can Mardek currently equip Resist Light? Not quite, but it is really close. So on this occasion, I think doing something like sacrificing soaking 10 damage, which will be almost nothing in the grand scheme of things, in order to pick up resistance to light. I mean, there are certainly going to be times when enemies are not going to be dealing light damage to us, in which case this will be quite literally useless, whereas this will at least always be soaking a little bit of damage. But I think, although this will be a little bit less consistent, the amount that it will mitigate will be so much more than the 10 damage from this that we could probably just keep this on, and of course next time Mardek levels up, we'll hopefully gain another RP and we can throw on the damage soak as well. So that's a good sign. As for whether or not there's anything else in here now that we are back in this area, I don't think so, because we have, of course, already spoken to Side Quest Priest. However, this is also a way for us to beam ourselves back over to Xanthusia. If you remember, we can go through this room here, and there are 2 portals, one of which is active, the other has not yet reactivated. This will take us back to the city, and the reason why we want to go back here is because I believe this is the library, which we do have Clavis now gone. That means we could read this bookshelf that he was blocking previously. The Forbidden Union? Huh? Oh, Julio, moaned Cynthia as she caressed his rippling muscles slenderly. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Clavis? Why were you reading this? But this is not right. This cannot be. They both knew that their fathers would be appalled, yet they did not give but a darn. I'll show you something else that cannot be, grunted Julio, eyes blazing with fiery passion, as he dropped his fashionable pantaloons. My gosh, it's so... Not your sort of thing, really. Clavis! What were you doing in here? Here I was thinking you were reading up about those crystals. Maybe not, though. The real reason, though, why we wanted to come back here was because way back when we were in the Samflo Caves, we picked up an item somewhere here, the Gizmo Meter, which is some kind of Gizmo Bob or Doodad. You're not sure which. But I believe that was something that these guys wanted. Ah, you returned, the old bedridden snakeskin, with the thing that we'd lost in hand. Bravo! Bravo again, for good measure. Now hand that to me, myself, and I shall fulfill my end of the bargain. We don't really have much to give, I'm afraid, dearie Dearington. We sort of need everything we have. More than what we have, in fact. But fair is fair, so I'll give you some gems, love. First, this'n. And this one, too. We've sort of been trying to get rid of it, but those reptoids act like we're trying to give up a bomb if we try. Oh ho ho ho! Are they just such sheer loons, my chap? Now, thanks for all your hard work, my addled cradle carrier. Be off now. And off you be. Okay, thanks, First Officer Lykel. So we got this Evening Star here, which has 1 defense, 1 magic defense. It's a gemstone, a gem that's said to have come from a rock that fell from the sky. Well, okay, that sounds dramatic. It is also an element that I don't think we've seen before. This star that you see in the background that's sort of purplish blue. It also gives an entirely new ability that we have not yet seen, double AP. 200 uses to master this. You'll see why in a second. 1 defense, 1 magic defense, like we said. It is Thama Elemental, which, like I said, I don't think we've yet seen. That is basically the magic, all-encompassing element. It is sort of the opposite of the physical element. So it gives a little bit of resistance to a bunch of statuses here, as you can see. But I think mostly it is that double AP that is going to be so intriguing to us. So let's throw this on Mardek for the time being, and I'll show you what this is all about. So if we go to skills, and we go and find this double AP of which we speak, Mardek is going to be hard-pressed to find enough RP to use it, since he's also using double gold, which is very RP heavy. But double AP doubles AP earned from all skills. So what does that mean? That means that every time you would gain 1 use from a given skill, get closer to mastering it, instead of gaining 1, you gain 2. So you level up skills twice as quickly as you normally would. Now that's why it takes so long to master this, because it doubles itself. So although it says 200 here, it's actually going to take 100 uses. So it's functionally the same amount of time as it would take to use the double gold. And it is applicable to anything, whether that be passive skills on this, magic defensive, magic offensive, all this stuff. So it is extremely helpful when you are leveling up and trying to master as many abilities as possible to use this. The downside is, of course, that it costs 10 RP. So at least on the passive side of things, you're going to be hard-pressed to find other things to throw on in addition to it. Say if we were to take off double gold and throw on double AP instead, then we could throw on things like 1 status immunity, a little bit of HP and MP, maybe a couple of attribute boosts, but for example, we would not be able to throw on an additional resist water, resist earth. So by taking this, you're probably locking yourself out of taking any of the other really strong things. So it's mostly useful for when you are deliberately trying to farm up skills, and less so for when you're trying to be as strong as possible, because it doesn't directly make you more powerful. And in that way, it is similar to double gold, and I think ideally we would have both of these equipped. Obviously, Mardek doesn't have the ability to do that right now, but then it would take an ability like double gold that would normally take so long to master and double the speed. That requires 20 RP, though. Mardek certainly is not there, and if we look at other characters who are not nearly as high level as Mardek, they wouldn't even be able to equip double AP at all. So for that reason, I think it is mostly something that we'll be looking to do in the future. Not as much so a short-term solution. Let's also see what the deal is with Blatantly Evil Chancellor. Yes! The village will be just as you left it when you return, Effendi. Okay, I don't know if he actually says anything different if we were to have brought Slinik in with us, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said when we last left, so maybe there's nothing new on that front. The other thing I wanted to check was, of course, there is the blacksmith over here, and we may have picked up some additional equipment, some additional crafting materials that we could use to create some of these things here. For example, I'm thinking of Mardek did pick up a kite shield from one enemy, which is 3 defense. It's slightly higher defense than the bronze shield alternative. However, primary reason why we actually want these kite shields is not so much just for the small defensive boost, it is more so because we can use them as one of the chief ingredients for Shield of Light and or Shield of Darkness. These give 3 defense, 3 magic defense, so they're already better than the kite shield in that way. But they also give those reactions that we were talking about previously. The light shield would give the light resistance one that Mardek would normally be able to get from the Salakian plate mail, but say if there's someone who can use a shield but not the plate mail, because this is a heavy armor, then maybe that would be reason enough to throw this on. And it also gives the light magic resistance as well, which Mardek does not currently have access to, nor does anyone else, so that's very useful too. Same thing with the Shield of Darkness, just of course dark this time. And we do have the helmet, or the black hat, that also gave us the magic dark resistance ability, so that one's not quite as hard to get. But in addition to all that stuff, we also have a little bit of dark resistance, and again, empowers dark, or empowers light, which we know doesn't really do anything. But all in all, this would be our strongest shield yet, and I do think that we have the other ingredient for either of these, the light essence or the dark essence. We could just track it down on someone. That's Fig. That's more Fig. And do we have any on us right now, or might it be on someone else? That might be a possibility. Let's double check, because I do think that that might be worth doing right now. Of course, we only have one kite shield at the moment, which means that we'd have to choose between one of these, and we wouldn't have our normal kite shield. As we said, though, the normal kite shield, there's no reason to hold on to this because it's just objectively worse than either of these. And then the other thing is, there are definitely some other shields and potentially other items altogether that might be worth pursuing here. I feel like we have everything for a skull helmet. Let's double check though. Human skull, I'm pretty sure we have that. But I feel like we might have deliberately stockpiled many of our crafting materials at item storage and the save crystal. So let's double back to one of those and or swipe a bunch of items from other people who are not currently active in the party. And I believe we'll find that these are actually reptoids that we rescued in the Sandflow Caves. Best of luck on your travels, Chief. Just ignore the fact that Slinik is not with us right now. We'll look after things here. You can be sure of that. Thanks, man. I sure am relieved not to be in those caves anymore. They're so irritatingly large and labyrinthian and dangerous, and am I even cut out to be a warrior? I mean, he's not wrong. It was a large area for sure. And these two reptoids? What's up? You found that guy yet? I don't know who you're referring to, but probably? Are you sure you'll be alright, Chief? We'll be fine, don't worry about it. We already cleared the Sandflow Caves. Okay, so, item storage. Let's pick up some human skulls, because it's totally for totally ethical reasons, not because we're doing some kind of satanic ritual or anything. Totally not. Well, where'd you get that idea? Okay. And then I don't remember what the other things we needed were, but let's kind of just pick up various crafting items that we've stockpiled here, and hopefully we'll find that, generally speaking, we'll get the things that we're looking for. Fish scales is actually one of the things that we need to create the potion that will allow us to breathe underwater that the shaman was talking to us about previously, so that we can go into Lake Core again. Other than that, I'm just going to pick up basically everything that is dedicated to being a crafting item here and hope that that gives us what we need. And we'll see what we can make, basically. Okay, so I think that's just about everything, unless other people are holding on to things that we would like to have as well. Big creepy eyes. Did Mardek not really have any of those? He may not have, so we'll swipe some of those too. Other than that, that might be all we need here. More Dark Essence. I think we did pick up a bunch from Mardek. I think there was something that needed the onyxes, whatever the plural of onyx is. And let's try this, because I think we'll be in good shape here. Because as I was saying way back when we first saw this blacksmith here, a lot of the stuff that he can make is quite good. However, as I was also saying previously, you want to be mindful of there are some things that there are only a limited supply of, notably gold ore. We don't have any of that right now, and so it's not like we're about to invest in some things that might prevent us from investing in other things because there's a limited supply of gold. So we'll be fine, I think, here. It's mostly just going to be stuff like, with the skull helm, human skulls, dark essence, old bone, and onyx, all materials that we could theoretically just continue to farm up more if we were to, say, go into the Dark Temple or fight undead enemies, which, at least, certainly the Dark Temple, that's easy to do. Undead, maybe not quite as easy these days, given how there's no more person resurrecting a bunch of zombies and skeletons. But I think we'll find that we'll be able to put in all the stuff for this, and maybe even make a few rounds of this skull helmet. So it's a half helm, 4 defense, and 2 magic defense. It's a rather morbid helmet made from a human skull. You know, just don't think about it too much. It gives 20 damage soak, which I think is usually an ability that comes from chest plates. So to be able to get that on a helmet might be useful. And then it also gives +2 vitality. So it's nothing that's super elaborate here, but for the most part, just higher stats than other helmets we would typically have. So let's take it. And Mardek is currently full on inventory space. So we'll throw it on someone else, and we might even be able to make another one here, which is probably worthwhile, because there are some helmets, and we actually have many of them right now, that are helmets that came from specific people when we first got them. I'm thinking of Elwian's Tiara, the Feather Crest from Gloria, and the Scoping Lens from Meriador. At least in the case of Elwian's Tiara, it's only usable by Elwian. So these things typically are quite strong. You see 2 defense, 4 magic defense. However, I think getting more of the skull helmets like this will give us a little more versatility. So, let's see if we can make another one of these. I think we have enough materials to do it. Onyx, and then dark essence as well, and old bones. We had somewhere. Here they are. In fact, we might be able to make a whole bunch of these, it would seem. Like I was saying, I think this is one that is fairly easy to create. And this might be our last human skull, but I'm pretty sure we probably have more on other people. So I'm not too concerned about that, and I think this is the primary reason for using it. So no real worries there. And that way, we have tons and tons of these helmets here, because for some people, they're going to be, I don't want to say best in slot per se, but pretty darn close. So for that reason, I think it is quite worthwhile for us to stockpile some of them. So that's good. Other than that, let's see if there's anything else we can create. Shadow Blade plus a Blood Opal. We do have a Blood Opal. However, I'm not sure if we have more than one. I think we might have put it on Donovan. It was the gem that was giving us the plus 10% leech ability with our physical attacks. So it is good. But for that reason, I would be hesitant to use it to create a new item and get rid of it, because we definitely have not had everyone learn that ability yet, so I think we probably pass on that. Sting Stick, we've made plenty of those. Silver Axe requires silver ore, which is another limited resource, so be careful of investing too much with silver ore at this stage. Otherwise, Monster Fang and Holy Water, those things are quite easy to come by. Then, Eagle Wings also requires gold ore, we don't have that. Silver ore for the Steel Stole, don't have that. Gold ore, made plenty of these helmets. Gold ore, don't have that. Ectoplasm, Aether Essence, Phage Crystal, Human Skull. That we might be able to do. I'm not sure if we have any Aether Essence yet, but other than that, I think we have all those other materials. Let's see if Mardek happens to have any. I feel like he'd be the most likely to be holding on to that. There's a chance that we might have gotten some from the Phantasms back in Chapter 2 in the Catacombs, and we may have some of that lying around at the Save Crystal. I just may not have deliberately picked it up, because it wasn't front of mind. Not seeing any here. Let's just double check if anyone who would have been in the party from Chapter 2 might have that, but that's not really anyone we see here, right? So I think that probably means that we do not have enough stuff for that. But we'll just do a quick double check here. And I might be missing it, because I'm trying to zoom over relatively quickly, but I think that is probably not something that we can do just yet, although we're close. So we'll keep an eye out for the opportunity to craft that in the future. Anything else we can make, though? let's see. Mithril plate mail. That requires mithril ore, which we do not currently have, and an evening star, which we just picked up from that quest. Other than that, rune shields, we don't have those. Wooden shields, we do. Fire opal, we have that. Aquamarine, I don't think we have that, but we do have topazes, nor do I think we have jade, so we're on our way there, but not quite there yet. So I think that means the only other thing that we could create would be either the Shield of Light or the Shield of Darkness. As for which one we'd rather have, tough to say at this point. Obviously, we ultimately want to get both. I'm thinking let's make the Shield of Light. We'll do this. We only have one light essence at the moment. I think this is the only one we have. So that means no more of those. However, that is the primary reason for picking those up. So, we now have that shield, and let's double check what abilities we can use with it. Because I think there was a light defensive reaction, as we were saying before, that Mardek was also getting from his chestplate. However, there is also the light magic defensive reaction. So maybe we take off fire for the time being, throw on light instead. Because Mardek does not have enough RP to do both, unfortunately. Though he does have a little bit remaining, so if we could get a relatively small skill, then you might be able to throw that on too. Okay, so that's that. And then I'm thinking that's probably just about everything that we have to do here in Zantusia. So let's teleport back to the Sun Temple. And then, now that we have done that, covered our bases, making sure that we get all the rewards from things that we've already done, let's make sure we check out the new area. We'll actually leave the Sun Temple, go back to the world map, and we were coming through the Warport, and the next area next to the Warport would be the Desert Path, which we've not yet explored. And so, what exactly is it? It seems like it's an open desert of sorts. There are, theoretically, 3 chests here, so let's check them out. Golden Conch. Okay, I think we did have one of those stashed away in our item storage somewhere. Next chest is down here. Gold ore. There you have it. Very valuable resource. Like I was saying before, it is limited. There is a finite number of those that you can get. And so that means that you want to be very mindful of when and where you are using them, because you cannot create everything that has gold ore as one of the necessary ingredients. There's only so many things that you're going to be able to actually create. So we're going to have to be very careful with that and pick and choose what we think is best. Now here is a cave. What kind of cave, you say? Well, let's see. It just says Desert Cave. And in said Desert Cave, there's a very dramatic looking chest. Now let's take the hint here, with all the mood lighting and whatnot, and, well, let's just say this is probably not something we want to do right now, because I'll let you guess what you think is in there. Other than that, let's keep on moving, because I think we have now gotten everything in terms of chests from this area. And there are 2 directions we can go in. We can go up north here, or we can go to the west. And either way, we are ultimately going to be headed to the world map again. So, I actually don't remember if there's a difference between what happens. Oh, yeah. If you go one way versus the other, you see we tried to go back to this desert path here, and we actually relocated ourselves to the other side, so odd. But I don't think it matters in that case, which one you opt to leave through. And so for that reason, that means we could go to either Aeropolis, which is the big city that we've heard a bit about, but have not yet gone to, of course, or Lifewood, which we've heard a little bit about. Gloria, I believe, was saying that she thinks that the Earth Crystal might be there. Let's go to Aeropolis first, though, because I think that we're going to get a lot of new stuff here. New things to explore, and people to talk to, and wow, okay. If we look at the map, we'll see this place is humongous. So much so, in fact, that, well, this could take us a while to go through. Let's speak to some of the people here. Ho there, dirty foreigners, excuse me. Want to buy something from this humble peddler of trinkets? I surely have some kind of family to feed. Probably. And again, we have more access to gold ore, so this is very valuable, but of course, as I was saying before, finite, so not necessarily urgent that we pick it up right now, because it is something that we'll more likely be looking to use a ways in the future once we have a bit of a stronger opinion as to which one of those very powerful items we ultimately want to create. Similar story with silver ore. Also quite good, but also limited in nature. So instead, maybe let's purchase a M runestone, which I think is one of those items that we needed, one of those other items that we could craft at the blacksmith. Mugwort. Now, I may be wrong about this, but I'm pretty darn sure this is one of the ingredients that we need to make that potion. Breathe underwater. So let's pick this up. I could be wrong about that, but at the end of the day, it's not terribly expensive, so even if that isn't the case, we'll be fine. Other than that, yeah, a few other crafting materials here and there. For the most part, things that we've already seen. So that's good to know that this guy does have some very useful things for us, but I think for the moment, let's save up our coins. So, other than that, this is also a door we can go through, and here we find another shopkeeper. Greetings, foreign knight. It gladdens me to see you step in my humble establishment with bags of cash. Please look around. Tell me if you see anything you would like to purchase. So this appears to be the typical potion shopkeeper, so nothing out of the ordinary that we see here. We'll pass. Other random pedestrians? It's a hot guy. Don't you love the sweltering desert heat, northerners? It must be, what, twice as hot as it ever is up in the north? I bet you're regretting wearing that suit of armor. Yeah, it is a pretty heavy suit of armor, you're not wrong. As for this guy? Rough man. I hate foreigners. Bogoroth. Thank you. And I'm not really sure what the sign on this building is supposed to be, but we'll head in here. And you might recognize that music. And you might recognize that guy over there. Not an Arab. Speaking to complete strangers is always a good way to pick up interesting information, don't you think, foreigner scum? Excuse me? Welcome to my humble public house. Filthy foreign dogs. Don't cause a bar fight or anything. I'll be watching you. Yeah, glad to see that everyone is just very happy to see us. Interesting man. I've nothing interesting to say to you. If you say so. This strange priestly fellow here is such a lark. I think I might be falling for him. Huh? Have you ever been to the Sun Temple in the West? We certainly have. Gods, that place is dull. I technically work and live there, I suppose, but our stupid scriptures are so restrictive. They forbid us from having any fun. So I snuck out one day and came here. I've been drinking myself stupid and amusing myself with cheap, excuse me, ever since. Woohoo! I hope that Solok doesn't punish me in the afterlife. I mean, yeah, you are kind of, going against all of your beliefs as a priest, but so be it. That bearded turban man. It's a darn shame that northerner social fox died. He was one of the only northern swine that I had any respect for. He came and saved our backsides enough times anyway. There's rumors going around. When one of them grand adventurers fall, another takes his place, always. Seems that's happening now. Some chap called himself Lone Wolf has been doing a slew of good deeds. Sounds a bit corny to me. I mean, Lone Wolf? Such a ripoff. He's obviously just copying Social Fox's greatness and hoping to win some of his popularity or something. Jumping on the bandwagon. What's next? Amiable Dingo? Token Woman. That Lone Wolf character just came to the city a while ago. Did he now? Well, it seems as though, in some ways, we're following in his footsteps, deliberate or not, and did some minor good deeds like monster slaying, thief catching, and saving cats from palm trees. Looking to build up his reputation, it seems. I bet that soon he'll be a household name. Does seem as though he's already there in some ways. Guard. Go. Go, Wayne, busy, buzzy, buzz, like a bee, buzz, drinking, buzzy drinking, here, well, where'd you go? Okay, maybe, just like, slow down on the drinks a little bit. As for the last person in here, well, it's our old buddy Zack. how's things, dear friend? Been up to your crazy, zany old hijinks and wacky shenanigans again? Something tells me that's not really Zack's style. I wasn't aware you knew any ruthless killers, Mardek. I thought you were more noble than that. Zack's a... well, okay, maybe it's a little bit much to say he's a good guy, but he's not a ruthless killer, per se. Well, we met in a bar in Chapter 2, and decided it was okay to pay him money to kill things for us without question. Yeah, but you know, when you phrase it that way... Well, old buddy, are you going to join us again? It'd be so much fun if you did. 10,000 gold this time. What? Is price increased by an order of magnitude? I'm not paying that. So, in that case, no, Zack. Hold on. How many coins do we have? We have 90,000. We'll be fine, right? Sure, he's charging us an arm and a leg, but still. You again? Well, yeah. We have that 10,000 gold now. Let's pay him. Fair enough. My blade is yours to command. Well, yay! But maybe you can tell us more about yourself this time instead of being so one-dimensional? Unlikely. Let's go. And yes, that does mean that Zack is now back. And he is still level 17. So he has all the experience that he gained from Chapter 2. And he has all the items. You can see his inventory is partially full there as well. And at 17, I'm pretty sure that means he's actually going to be the second strongest member in our party right now. Oh, Slinik is a little bit higher, but... oh, and Charla and Donovan. Okay, I was going to say, did we do that much grinding in level 2 that he was still above and beyond characters that we've had for the entirety of Chapter 3? Not really. Although we did just purchase his services, I don't necessarily think that we'll have him join us just yet, because we still have not had much time yet to play with Gloria, Elian, or Meriador, our newest members. So, although it's good to get him, I think for the moment, we can have him sit on the sideline. And as you see there, in Chapter 3, we just get more and more and more party members. So we will have no shortage of choices. But I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap up here. So for next time, we'll check out everything else that there is in Aeropolis.